Hello, I'm Dr. Jeremy Alland. I'm a board-certified sports medicine physician and the team doctor for the Chicago Bulls, and welcome to the very first episode of Hey Doc, Quick Question. If you haven't had a chance to check out the trailer, I want you to know that this show is all about answering the health questions real people ask every day. No medical jargon, no long lectures, just real answers to the stuff you've been wondering about. If you've ever thought, I should ask a doctor about that, this is the place for you. I started this podcast because I kept hearing from friends and family and on social media, "Hey doc, quick question," and people seem to be lost on where to find credible answers in a short amount of time. Even I was frustrated by all the health podcasts that are 2 or 3 hours, and sometimes even over my head. I just want the answer, and I want it from a credible source, so it hit me. Let's make a short episode, oftentimes less than 10 minutes, that's focused on a question from the listener. I want you to be a part of this podcast as much as I am. So each week, I'm going to answer your question. And if you want to be on the show, head to heydocquickquestion.com. You're going to see a link there that you can leave a voicemail, and I may just answer it on the next episode. So with that, let's jump into our first question. Have you ever been at the gym or at home, and you bend down into a squatting position and you hear these loud cracks? What was that? Or you'll look down and be like, did I just break something? Why did my knees crack when I squat? Well, our listener was thinking the same.
Hey doc, quick question. Why do my knees crack when I squat?
I love this question. It's super common and a problem that I have myself. I have incredibly noisy knees. I never thought twice of it until people kept asking me in the office, what's up with my cracking knees? It might sound dramatic, but most of the time it really isn't anything to worry about. But we're going to break down actually what's happening. So the cracking itself actually has a medical name. We call it crepitus. Crepitus really is just noise coming from a joint. Think about cracking your knuckles or a popping ankle, or in this case, popping knees. Most of the time, crepitus is completely benign and harmless, and that's because it's coming from a process called tribonucleation. Now, what happens in tribonucleation is that you have synovial fluid in your joints. Think about synovial fluid as being like the oil in an engine of a car. It keeps everything lubricated and allows it to move smoothly. Well, the synovial fluid, if you get down into a position where you change the joint pressures, actually forms gas bubbles. And those gas bubbles, when they form, actually create a noise, which is the crepitus. This was new learning for me too, because I always thought it was the popping of the gas bubbles that caused the sound, which I think makes sense. But in reality, it's the formation of the gas bubble that causes the sound. But again, the formation of these bubbles, completely harmless, never going to cause a problem and nothing you need to worry about. Another example of benign, harmless popping and cracking is when a tendon snaps over a bone. Most commonly they need this is the IT band. It's a very, very thick, taut piece of tissue on the outside part of your knee. And if it's tight and you bend and squat down, you may notice that it pops over the femoral condyle, or the outer part of your knee, and causes a pop. Once again, if this is not causing pain or dysfunction, it's completely harmless and will never cause a problem. So is there a time when you have cracking in your knees where you should worry? The biggest differentiator here is pain, swelling, or other associated symptoms. If you have clicking and popping or a noisy knee, and it's associated with any of those things, it may be something more, and therefore it's worth getting it checked out. If you don't usually have a noisy knee, and you go to stand up and you feel a pop, and there's pain, and within a few hours it's swelled up, that can be the sign of an injury like a meniscus tear. Or if, like our listener, every time you squat down you feel popping or cracking, and you have associated stiffness in the morning or when you sit for long periods of time, pain when you're doing a certain amount of activities, or recurrent swelling, that can be the signs of something like osteoarthritis. So what I spend most of my time with my patients discussing when they come in with a noisy knee is, how do you feel? I've seen loud knees in healthy people with no issues at all. I've also seen quiet knees with more serious pathology. The noise does not necessarily mean a problem. So rather than focusing on the sound, as a sports medicine doctor, I care more about how your knees feel, how they function, and whether you're limited by pain. All right, doc, well, you told me that it's benign, it's harmless, but I don't like it. Is there anything I can do to make the cracking sound go away? In reality, not really. But it's okay to try a few things. The first is keep moving. The more you exercise and the more you're moving your body, the better everything's going to work. You can try working on overall flexibility and mobility. Think about foam rolling things like the IT band or stretching your quads and your hamstrings. And lastly, think about strength training. Many times we load the front of our knee more than we load the butt and the thighs and the quads. Do some weightlifting and see if you can make the noise go away. Worst case scenario, you still have noisy knees, but you're more flexible, you're stronger, and you're moving, which are all going to benefit you in the future. So here's the bottom line. Cracking knees, normal. Cracking knees plus pain and swelling, not normal. Get that checked out. It doesn't mean that you're going to need to have surgery or any major procedure, but at least you can get a diagnosis and a treatment plan and establish with a provider who can follow you along based on how you do. I want to send a special thank you to our listener for our first question here on Hey Doc Quick Question. If you have a problem that you want to discuss or something you've been wanting to ask a doctor, go ahead and head to heydocquickquestion.com and send me your question. You could be on the next episode. I really enjoy breaking down health information for people. I hope that you enjoyed this first episode. I promise that I'm going to bring you short, credible, accurate health information on a weekly basis based on only the questions that you're sending me. Oh, and if you could do me one favor, all new shows rely upon word of mouth. And if you could tell one person about this episode or about this podcast, if you could subscribe, put it on your social, it would really help bringing more people to the show so that I can continue to put out this content. I need your questions and I need your word of mouth. It means a ton. Thank you so much. Again, I'm Dr. Jeremy Alland. I'm super pumped to be a part of your weekly podcast routine, and I can't wait to see you next week. Hey, you made it to the end. Great. Now the legal stuff. This podcast is for educational purposes only. It's not medical advice, and listening doesn't make me your doctor. I mean, I like you, but we don't have that kind of relationship. So please, don't use this podcast to diagnose yourself or to treat other people. Always talk to your actual doctor or healthcare provider when it comes to your health. Neither I, Dr. Jeremy Alland, any guests, nor Hey Doc Quick Question LLC can be held liable for anything you do or don't do based on what you heard here. In short, this is information, not a prescription. Be smart, stay curious, and talk to your doc. Oh, and hey, send me your questions.